This one over here has got some kind of like weird chicken dinosaur head thing and a weird leg. Those who wish to fully dedicate themselves to Khorne usually join the World Eaters to undergo the complex psychosurgery they employ. Once the procedure is complete, they are one with their angry god, feeling nothing but the desire to kill, maim, and burn. The Berserkers of Khorne relish their role as the blood god's sacred destroyers and are fanatical in the extreme. Their delight in pain and death is so strong that they have been known to attack their comrades in blind rage, and if no other opponent is present, even to fall upon their own weapons as sacrifices to Khorne. Welcome to another army showcase. This time we're going to be looking at my oldest army, and that is my World Eaters of Phrenesia. Phrenesia being the demon prince who leads them. So I created this army back in about 2004 when I was an undergraduate student, and when I wasn't studying I was working on these guys, and so this is an interesting army to look at because it represents, the birth of my hobby, and there's a lot of interesting things going on. One thing I did, and I'm glad I did, was I very early on realised the beauty of creating a very focused army, and this was in part facilitated by the Chaos Codex that was out at the time, which enabled you to fill the pure World Eaters force and get a few little bonuses for doing so. So the fact that that was there was a bit of an inspiration for me to create this force, and I really enjoyed painting this almost completely red and gold army. As you can see, there are a few different types of unit in the army. So at the back you can see a Dreadnought. We've got lots of Khorne Berserkers, some Bloodletters, Fleshhounds, a few characters, and some people on bikes. So we'll go through and have a look at various different units within the army. So as you look around the army, you can see them exactly as they were created almost 20 years ago. There are a couple of exceptions. One of the models, the Juggernaut, you can just see at the bottom of the picture now, has been repainted, but almost everything is exactly as it was many years ago. And there are lots of interesting conversions, which I'll show you in a minute. I mean, some of them are just downright strange, but this was my first army, so there's bound to be some weird and wonderful things going on. So let's have a look at one of the main characters. This here is Sanguinoso, a Chaos Lord with demonic flight, and he's made from a metal Chaos Lord miniature that was around at the time. If I pick him up, you can have a look a bit more closely. This was my first time using green stuff, so you can see on the sword there's some green stuff, and the way I attached the wings as well. Some bits worked well, some bits less so, but I like the paint job. Even back then I was attempting to do some complicated paint jobs, and it came up quite well. He was the leader and was replaced eventually by this guy, Phrenesia, who is converted from an Inquisitor 48mm model, and with a green stuff cloak, which I'm really pleased about. And this was a fun conversion, and I was really pleased at how imposing he was. And behind we have some bikes. So this one here is converted from an Imperial Space Marine bike. Back then I kind of just used whatever I could get my hands on. I didn't necessarily have lots of money to spend. So this one's made from an Orc bike. I just kind of took whatever bits I had, and I was very interested in doing lots of interesting conversions. So there are some really strange things. I mean, again, this is an Orc vehicle that's been converted with some Demon Prince parts. There's a dead Ultramarine on the back who was one of his victims. Just really going quite wacky with my ideas. And of course, as my first army, there's bound to be a lot of ideas. So, this one I'm particularly proud of, actually. I wish I was that creative now. So over here we have some of the Khorne Berserkers and the Dreadnought in the army. So if I grab one of these models and you can have a closer look. So this is one of them with what I think is a raptor head and a power fist, a sorcerer's backpack, a cocktail stick as a trophy rack. And this one here with a severed head. Not really proud of that, but you know, it's okay. A champion's head, even though they're not the champion. Bit weird. And the Dreadnought, I really like the Dreadnought. I think I painted it well. And I actually magnetised to the base because it wouldn't fit in my foam army case. So I actually did a bit of magnetisation to get it in my case, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, so this is one of the more basic squads. There are some more weird ones, as you'll see. And they come none weirder than the Possessed, which you're looking at right here with their transport rhino. And they have some really wacky conversions. You know, I just disregarded all of the normal rules, and you know, this one's got sort of a head for an arm and an arm for a head, and this one over here has got some kind of like weird chicken dinosaur head thing and a weird leg, and this one here is based on the Cypher model with crazy tentacle arms. Just going really wacky with them and having a lot of fun. This is the rhino that I did. So this is one of my, you know, one of the more interesting paint jobs in the army, being black and red and having a bit of shading on it and things like that. Yeah, that was fun to do as well, from what I remember from all those years ago. Over here we have the demon section of the army. I've got 8 bloodletters, 8 fleshhounds, and 1 demon prince in metal. This is Demon Prince Kamenak in a dark red paint scheme. No conversions on this one. Just a cool model. And we've got fleshhounds behind here. So if I grab this one first. So this is a Mortime hound, I think. And the idea was I'd get these little hounds, and then this big one, which was Arbal the Undefeated's steed, to use as like a parent to the others. So you've got like 7 pups and 1 parent, which I thought was kind of cool. And lots of people remarked upon that when I played games, and they thought it was pretty fun. And of course my bloodletters. I love these bloodletters, I really do. They were quite nice to paint, and I don't know, they just have a nice sort of vibe about them. You know, they look quite sinister, even if they haven't quite got the dynamic poses of the modern incarnation of the bloodletters. So over here in the centre of the display we have lots more Khorne Berserkers, including this metal Khorne Berserker champion with a chainsword and a plasma pistol. Not fielded as a champion, strangely enough. We got the current Khorne Berserker and the retro plastic Khorne Berserker. So the sort of 2 different versions of the plastic Khorne Berserkers that have existed. You know, I just kind of mixed them all up, had models. I've got Chaos Space Marines, Khorne Berserkers, all sorts of things going on. Here's one of my favourite models. So this is, I don't know what it was called, the model, but one of my favourite metal models, completely unconverted. So this is just how it came, and it's a brilliant pose, I think. Really sort of roaring his praise to Khorne in the middle of the battle, or issuing a challenge, or who knows. He looks angry, right? So over here we can find yet more of my favourite models in the army, including this one, which is had an axe and a head swap, and this one which just has a really nice paint job. I mean, there was definitely a lot of variety. I was trying to improve my painting as I went through, so you can sort of tell the earliest and the latest models in the army. Another metal Khorne Berserker champion, and this is one of my chosens. My chosen all had bare arms, as you can see, or at least one bare arm. This marked them out as different. I tried to differentiate my squads in these different ways by, you know, different paint jobs or parts. I quite enjoyed this one. I think that's a Goliath arm, and then this banner which is made from green stuff. So Really went to town with the green stuff on this early army. I guess it's one of those things where, you know, it's new and you want to try it out. So here we have a lieutenant or lieutenant, which you could have in a Chaos Codex back in the day, and it's converted from a fantasy model. And I quite like how I painted the cloak on this one. Not bad paint job on that. And this is one that's actually been repainted recently. Not to my highest standard, but I think it's, you know, pretty good and a lot better than it did look. And I think, given that it's my only Lord on a Juggernaut, I really think it deserved a good paint job, especially since you can't buy them these days. Well, I hope you enjoyed looking through my nearly 20-year-old World Eaters army. I hope you found some of the models interesting to look at and perhaps inspiring for your own creations. I mean, if you're not inspired to make some wacky possessed, then are you really a Chaos player? There are 8 models in each unit, so that's Bloodletters, Berserkers and so on, with the exception of the bikes. I didn't have 8 bikes for some reason, not sure why. You know, that's important. You need to stick to the holy numbers of the Chaos Gods. So I always try to stick to 8 in my Khorne armies. I'll be uploading more army showcases in the future. Not sure when. I don't really have any strict schedule for doing this, and it partly depends on having good light available to lay them out and film them. But do keep an eye out and have a look around my other videos on my channel. And until then, happy gaming!